So I've been a fan of the Dynasty Warriors games for a good while now. I own and have played a majority of them, and that includes its spin-offs like Fire Emblem, Hyrule Warriors, Pirate Warriors, I guess the Samurai Warriors series as well, and Empires. But I had never heard of Sengoku Basara before a month ago. I knew that an anime had existed with the same name, but that was it. I didn't know it was an entire game series in itself. But I was browsing a forum one day about the best minigames in the Warriors franchise, and you know, because I wanted to try find something that was kind of similar to Destiny mode in 5. Of course, you understand why if you've played it, but I read a comment that said the Sengoku Basara games are better than any Dynasty Warriors. And it got me curious, wondered, what is the Sengoku Basara series and how does it relate to Dynasty Warriors? So I did some research, mainly by watching this guy's video, and the games looked pretty fun. So I booted up the emulator and tried the first game out, and here are my thoughts. So the story setup for Sengoku Basara is pretty simple. It just takes place in the Sengoku period of Japan, where you'll be playing as different historical figures throughout the time period. It's very similar to Samurai Warriors, of course, having the same characters as Samurai Warriors. You'll have you playing as people such as Nobunaga Oda, Akechi Mitsuhide, Masamune Date, Kenshin, Shingen Takeda, and more. The Samurai Warriors actually came out a year before Sengoku Basara did. And another thing to note is that this version of Sengoku Basara is entirely in Japanese, so a lot of the story elements are lost on me besides what I can pick up sometimes. There was also an English version of Sengoku Basara that came out called Devil Kings, but we'll talk about that disaster later. I enjoyed learning about this time period in Japan, so as I was playing, I was interested to see what events would transpire, and there were a lot of historical events that occurred. And as you boot up the game, you get to watch this entertaining cutscene. Very historically accurate. So the main menu has 4 different options to choose from. Starting from top, it's the main story mode, or I guess conquest mode, whatever you want to call it. Free mode, and then gallery, and then the settings. The gallery is really interesting as it gives you a list of all different characters you can read about and different historical battles. You can look at artwork, you can listen to soundtracks. I think this is a really neat feature to have, and I know it comes from Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, whatever you want to call it. I actually don't know if Samurai Warriors has it, the first one, but I know Dynasty Warriors definitely has it for sure. But it's still a nice feature to have regardless. So when you select Conquest mode, you'll be greeted by a list of characters that is very reminiscent of a Warriors game. The game has 16 playable characters, which is a decent roster for the first game in the series, and all of them play differently except for a couple, the ninjas. But besides that, character roster's good. I mean, to unlock certain characters, you have to clear stories of other characters. Like to play as Akechi Mitsuhide, you need to beat Oda Nobunaga's story. But besides that, not much else to talk about. The art is cool, and you get to select your difficulty when you select a character. You get picked between normal and hard. This is not easy or normal, so don't be like me and accidentally pick hard your first time playing because you didn't know what it said. So when you choose a character and go to the mission select screen, which is basically this map of Japan that has a bunch of different regions controlled by the famous characters, you get to select territories that neighbor your own. So, it's conquest mode, you're kind of trying to conquer all of Japan. Each acts as a different stage. There are about 20 stages in the game. It has a good variety. Some characters have multiple territories you have to take over, like Shingen Takeda having 2 separate battles to take over his territory, one of them being really annoying. So next you have the equipment selection screen, which you can choose your weapon. You can get different weapons by drop chance from enemies. I think higher drop chance on hard difficulty. And you have accessories you can equip, which will give you certain buffs. One of them that I like using is the one that instantly breaks their shields because they're kind of annoying. And some give you like HP buffs, resistance to certain types of attacks, do more damage to blah blah blah. And then you have your skills as well here. You start out with 2 different skills and you'll unlock more as the character levels up. I believe you'll unlock all skills at around level 10. And then you can start the mission. When you load into the mission, you'll have an objective to do that is, of course, similar to Warriors. Usually it'll be you have to go to defeat something, or you have to go to a certain place. But they do have unique ones here and there where you have to do special objectives, like escort a bomb, for example. I'll try to show it on screen here. You have to escort this guy to blow up a gate so you can get through. And they also have horse stages, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the horses, but it's there. So the basic gameplay formula is that of Dynasty Warriors as well. I mean, the combat is very similar. You have square buttons to do combos, but in this, your triangle button actually uses your ability that you have equipped that you can see in the screen right there in bottom left. You press R1. For me, I changed it, so it's R1 to switch abilities and L1 to block. But originally it's L1 to switch abilities and R1 to block, so if you don't like that, you may have changed that. And then you also have parrying, which is interesting because I haven't seen that really before that much in these Muso games. But you have parrying and you have sidestepping while blocking, which is really interesting. And like in all the Muso games, you have a Muso gauge, but it's called a Basara gauge. In here, it acts the exact same, except some of the abilities are unique and actually pretty damn overpowered. But some of them are just kind of terrible. But it acts the same as Dynasty Warriors, but in my opinion, it's a lot easier to get the Basara gauge filled than the Muso gauge, at least in these older games. I enjoy the combat of this game. It's a fun button masher Warriors-like. And that's really all there is to it for the combat. It's very simple, very Formula Muso, and it's a good start to a series, I would say. It's fun, it doesn't feel repetitive. I can see how it can become repetitive after a while. I put about 25 hours into this before reviewing it, and I had a lot of fun the entire time. I cleared almost every single campaign, and it was a great time. Sengoku Basara's story is told through mainly cutscenes, which can be nice because it allows someone who doesn't speak Japanese to understand what's going on. They have in-game cutscenes and anime cutscenes. I particularly like the anime cutscenes. I think they add some nice personality to the game. Each character's story has a few cutscenes as you play through it. Usually one will play at the beginning, maybe one in the middle if you do a historical battle. You can accidentally miss some though if you don't do the specific battle. And then one at the end to wrap up the story, the character's story and what happens to them. Some even have comedic moments, like my favorite story being between Shingen Takeda and Yukimura Saneta. Their relationship is so funny in this game and I love it. Overall, the story is decent and it does what it needs to do. Obviously, it's not going to be amazing, and I didn't expect it to be. That's good enough for me, especially for a Muso game, because you're going to be playing a Muso game for the action. Not really story unless you're a diehard fan of the period. So now my thoughts about the game. This is my first Sengoku Basara, so I don't have the experience of any of the other games. I've never played any of the other games. I have recently purchased the other games because I really like this one. Well, says what I think about it. But some of my thoughts about it were that I wish there was more verticality with the levels. They have a jumping button, and it's mainly just used to get out of attacks in combat. It seems like they have it because Dynasty Warriors has it or something like that. There is one level that uses verticality and I really liked it. It's one of my favorite maps. I can't remember the clan it's with, but I'll show it on screen here. It is fun to fly over enemies as one of the ninjas. I think that's one of the best features they've added. Again, with the characters I was talking about that are the exact same practically. The two ninjas, I don't know why these two have the exact same moveset. They're just different like colors, I think. That's the only difference between them. And the fact that Sasuke can fly. That's literally it. That's the only difference. So another thing that I like though is that you can't knock enemies into places you can't enter. So you know in the old Dynasty Warriors games, or I guess it still happens in the newer one, I can't actually remember, but in the old Dynasty Warriors games, when you hit an enemy back into where they spawn, you have to wait for them to run out of the area. Well, you can't do that in this game. They won't go back to where they spawn. So it's really nice for not disturbing the flow of gameplay. And another thing that I like is that enemies can damage each other as well. Enemies will hit each other with different attacks. These guys that blow up will blow up other enemies, like if they're caught in the range. And these big hammer guys will swing down on other guys. It also seems like sometimes you can do crit attacks. I'm not really sure what this is, but it gives you like a major damage with one hit kind of thing, and I believe it's just a crit hit, but I have no idea. Another thing that I like though is having the multiple different attacks. I thought it adds some uniqueness that I hadn't seen in Dynasty Warriors games, although it also kind of limits the combo potential as you do not have triangle string combos. You only have the abilities and then the square string combos, but I thought it was a good addition. Again, with the parry system, I think the parry system is pretty cool. You can even parry arrows, surprisingly, which is really fun to do. I enjoyed the combat in this game a lot more than I would in a normal Muso game. Now, it is really a shame we didn't get this version in the West, and instead we got Devil Kings, which is absolutely dreadful. I tried playing Devil Kings 2 times, I think. I'll show a little bit of gameplay on here for you. They completely changed major mechanics of the game and just made it unbearable to play. It felt like it was too much change. The name changing is something I really disliked, considering I'm a big fan of the time period of the Sengoku era, and they decided to change all the names to be like Demon King or Snow, something like that, Snow Queen or something, and then they're all just, it seems like the game was directed towards children more than anything. And in this version, they have an easy, normal, and hard. Well, easy is actually the normal version of the Japanese, and normal is the hard version of the Japanese, and then very hard's an extra difficulty. That's kind of insane. I don't know why they decided to do this localization shit, but I'm not okay with it. I think that's a terrible thing to do, and I think the majority of Devil Kings is just terrible. Some characters are also unlocked without having to complete other routes, which is okay, I guess, but it's not that interesting. I think it's just a bad game overall, and they have some extra mechanics they decided to add which don't add anything to the gameplay, and it's just not fun. This is why it failed. This failed in the West, which is why we never got another Sengoku Basara game, because I don't know whoever decided to localize the game. It was a terrible decision to make it like this. If they gave us Sengoku Basara as Sengoku Basara, then it probably would have succeeded. I know people have fond memories of this game, so if you're one of those people, I'm happy for you, but this game is not good compared to Sengoku Basara in my opinion. Yeah. Now, how do I think this compares to Dynasty Warriors? I think this is a good contender and a good answer to the Dynasty Warriors franchise. It's a solid game that's similar to Samurai Warriors, and it has enough uniqueness to become its own thing. As long as they keep expanding on it, I'm sure it'll become more unique. Now, do I think this game is better than Dynasty Warriors? That is a hard question, as I am a huge fan of Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. I really like Sengoku Basara as well, but I don't think I can say I like it more than some of the older Dynasty Warriors games. Don't get me wrong, I really like Sengoku Basara, and I will be playing the other games and hopefully reviewing them, but I don't think it's better than the Dynasty Warriors that was there at the time. Because if I'm correct, Sengoku Basara was there when Dynasty Warriors 5 was there, and that's one of the best in the series to date. So I think it's a great game. I just don't think it's better than Dynasty Warriors, in my opinion. And you're free to have your own opinion, and I am happy to discuss it in the comments. So yeah, that's my opinion of Sengoku Basara. Thank you for watching this video. This is one of my first videos, so I've put a lot of effort into recording the gameplay, recording the audio, writing a script. Although I did go a bit off script when I tangented about devil kinks there. But I hope you enjoyed regardless, and even if no one watched this video, that's okay, because this is personal documentation anyway of just my reviews of what I think about these games. So yeah, thank you for watching. I plan to make a review of Suikoden 1 as my next video, because I just recently finished that. So thank you for watching. Bye.